It's been a little crazy. I'm not gonna lie. We'll get into this more, but for anybody that doesn't know, it may seem like me and Colin known each other forever. We've known each other for 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a wild 3 weeks to say the least. That's for sure.
Definitely. So where are you calling at from today? What part of the country?
So right now I'm in Virginia. I've been over at Virginia International Raceway with the Racing Heroes group, actually on the RFH tactical side. We've been working together this week a little bit and doing some training stuff. And so right now I'm back at my parents' house here in South Boston. So yeah, back at my little childhood home.
Fantastic. And when you say South Boston, you're talking South Boston, Virginia, not South
Yeah,
Boston,
yeah,
Massachusetts.
yeah. That's a big confusion for some people. I don't know why, because I don't sound like I'm from Boston. So
Oh, fantastic. Well, we'll get started. For anyone, welcome everybody. As again, I haven't been live in a while. You know, this summer's been insane for the Denny's, for Lindy and I. As you've seen probably some of it online, we're getting back to all kinds of different things. One of them is awesome partnership and working with the Colin Garrett and his team and his veteran project that he's created and doing some great work out there for vets. So we're going to get to know Colin a little bit. So I'll do a quick introduction. All I'm going to say is Colin's been racing since he was 14 years old, and he's still 21 years old. So he's got a lot of time racing, but he's still got a long race career ahead of him. So I'm super excited to be part of that journey. And Colin, I'm going to have you kick us off of kind of tell us a little bit of background of you, how you got into racing, and kind of how you got to where you are right now.
yeah. So I kind of always loved racing. I don't really know where the love came from. I think it was from my babysitter. I would go over to her house as a kid, and they would watch NASCAR, typical Southern Virginia thing. So I think it just kind of grew from there. And I've been trying to get my dad to let me go race at a dirt bike track down the road, and he would never do it, never do it. I had four-wheelers and stuff, but he would never take me over there. And finally, I don't know how, I was in like ninth grade. Yeah, ninth grade, and I was like, how about like a pure stock car? Because NASCAR just lowered the uh, lower age, the lowest age that you could race to 14.
Okay.
So I was like, let's go look at this race car that somebody had for sale. So we went over there, and he ended up getting it somehow. I talked him into it, and here we are today. So it's been a wild journey, that's for sure. And it's kind of crazy to only think it's only been 6 years, something. That still seems like a huge amount of time, but it's not. So
That's pretty awesome. That's you just everything, and everyone's going to learn this more as they get to know you through our channels and stuff and what we're doing together. Everything that I've learned about you is you just start and try and see if it works and go from there.
yeah, I feel like, that's kind of the only way you can do it. That's basically all I know. So I have fun doing that. I've tried to teach myself a lot of things, and maybe not particular in the racing stuff, but I've had a lot of great people to help me in my success along the way in NASCAR, and it's been really cool to form those relationships. But then I go out and mountain bike and stuff and wreck and watch YouTube videos and try to learn how to get better. So I just love doing new things and learning how to be the best at it, or the best I can be myself. So
Oh, that's fantastic. I think it's a great example for a lot of people that kind of get stuck in that planning, scared, fear. Fear doesn't really play into your world, or if it does, you got to just figure it out and keep going. Otherwise, you're in trouble.
oh yeah, it's my heart rate this past weekend actually at Darlington was 209. So if you can't handle that, that's gonna be a long day. But obviously, we had a whole lot of factors that went into my heart rate getting that high. So but yeah, all of it is just high heart rate stuff. A lot of stuff's happening, and you just gotta be prepared for that kind of thing, and be ready to combat it. So.
Yeah, fantastic. And now we're a few minutes in. I'll invite anybody. This is a place to ask questions. So Colin and I will be talking about some things, what he's been doing with racing, what that's like when he races, the veteran project that we're partnering on that he created, some of that fun stuff, how and why I put my face on a NASCAR, how that craziness happened. But we want questions from you. So let us know who you are, where you're watching from. We don't know you're out there unless you're typing in the comments. So hit us up, throw us a like, throw us a comment so we know who you are, where you're watching from, ask a question, anything you want, and we're here to answer it. And yeah, so with that, what is it like driving 200 miles an hour down the track?
I mean, it's kind of just, it is what it is. I mean, it's not like a big thing. It's pretty cool, but everyone around you, it's basically like driving down I-40 or something. Everyone else is going 200, so you don't really realize you're going that fast until you start wrecking. So that's when things actually speed up, and you're like, oh crap, and so other than that, I mean, it's pretty cool, I guess. So I don't know how to really describe it. I mean, it's fast, but like I said, it's all relative. Speed's just a relative thing. So,
Yeah,
you can be going 20 miles an hour through a city street and you're like, oh, this is really fast. But, then you got somewhere and like you're going 200 miles an hour. It's like, this is really fast. But then, it all depends on where you're doing it and everything. I don't know. So
right.
that made sense in my head when I started talking about it. So,
Well, I guess if everybody around you is going 200 miles an hour, it's all, like you said, it's all relative. You're just kind of bobbing and weaving, tipping and
yeah, yeah.
diving.
Yeah, like at Talladega earlier this year, we were going down the backstretch, and I was like, we're going pretty fast, but like it doesn't feel that fast. And I looked over to my right, and there was a bunch of like buses and campers and stuff all down the backstretch up on top of a hill. And I just looked over, and it was just like a wall of buses. I'm like, holy shit! Like you realize how fast that was. So, but when you're just going straight, you don't notice it. So.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Well, and you're probably not texting and driving out there on the track, I imagine.
No, no, I'm sitting there talking to my crew and I'm looking at gauges and stuff, or I'm trying to find the water hose thing that I just had like 30 seconds ago that is now long gone in my thing. But yeah, I'm not texting and driving. So they actually banned our phones after Brad Keselowski made a tweet back a decade ago, probably. They were under red flag during the Daytona 500, and he made a tweet from inside the car,
Oh,
looking like they were red flagged and stopped and stuff. And he's like made a tweet out. And he's like, it's my view right now. And NASCAR was like, yeah, no more. So, and then some kid also, they were at Daytona earlier this year, and some kid was Snapchatting while he's going around the track. So, like, his Snapchat story was just him driving around Daytona. He got suspended and a fine from that. But yeah,
well, that's
so it's a big no-no to do that.
yeah, I'm sure. Well, like any sport, any industry that you're doing a lot of high risk things, they probably try to keep the risk to what they can control, and you can't control
To the minimal.
Snapchat
Yeah.
for sure. What's the age range from? We have a question coming up here. I'll ask. But what's the age range from drivers? I think you said there's drivers that are 18, 17 that are on the track.
Yeah, so if you're going to come race in the National Series, to go race a big track like Darlington, Michigan, Daytona, you have to be 18 years of age. But you can, I believe this is still a rule that you can race a truck at Phoenix and Martinsville at the age of 16, but don't quote me on
Wow.
that. That used to be a thing, but they may have changed that. But yeah, to come race in the National Series, it's 18. To race in a regional series, I think it's like 15, 14, 15, and then everything else is a 14 age limit. So it used to be 16, and they finally lowered it, which I think is smart because the youth push in the last decade has been obviously quite large. Myself being one of them, but now like I'm 21, and it feels like I'm the old guy when I see these 17, 18 year olds coming in. Because I mean, we did grow up in kind of a different generation. I spent 2 years in K&N, and all the people that we raced K&N together at that time, it was like, I don't know, it was our little group. And then we move on and we look back at K&N now, or I guess it's ARCA now, and it's like, damn, those guys are so young, but they're only 3 years younger than us. So
That's crazy. And what about the other side of the spectrum? What's the oldest racers that are in the sport?
the oldest guys, so like if you're gonna have the oldest competitive guys, like I don't know, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, that kind of group, um, late 30s to most of them. Sorry, most of them are like late 40s. I mean, some of them can get up to that age. So it's definitely become a trend to where they're able to go a little bit longer in their career. They're obviously staying healthy and ready to go, but then you have some guys that go racing trucks, like Norm Betting. I think he's like in his 60s or whatever. There's another guy that raced that. He was like, I he's like pushing 80, maybe that was like ARCA or something. But there's some old dudes out there. But I mean, they're just out there for fun, so it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. They're not, necessarily up to pace, but it's still cool. I mean, it's their hobby, so.
Yeah. I can imagine somebody at 60 with a heart rate of 205.
Yeah, I hope their heart rate's not getting that high. That would be kind of sad. So we don't need them having a heart attack in race.
Oh, definitely. So a couple of things from the crowd here. One, Justin says, I'm sure you're wicked smart. Even he's using his Boston accent there, down from South Boston.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
And then Lindy here, Lindy, says, what's your best and worst NASCAR joke?
Oh, I don't know. I've probably gotten about 15 of those cards. I'm sure you've seen at Walmart or Food Lion or wherever, the birthday cards, and it's like, man, it's a nice car or whatever. They're talking about this truck or something. So I've gotten like 10 of those. But people always make like Talladega Nights references and stuff. That's the big thing. I get called Ricky Bobby, especially over at RFH, because those dudes are just dumb. And I get called Ricky Bobby all the time. And that is like the daily thing. So I don't know. It's probably the Do you know what's called NASCAR? Because that's a NASCAR. That's dumb. So.
Oh, that's awesome. And you say RFH, and that's, for those that don't know, that's Racing for Heroes, correct?
Yep.
And what have you been doing with them the last couple of years?
So the last few years, I think back 2019 in the beginning of the year, we partnered up with Racing for Heroes, which is the nonprofit side of the organization. And I think my headphones might die here, so we're gonna keep going until they do. I got another one I can stick in my ear. So we started working with the nonprofit side of things to promote their free services for veterans. They do a lot of stuff where, guys who have been in the teams or, just in the normal military, they come in or they get out of the military and they're not in that family-oriented environment anymore. They don't have those, guys that hang out with on the daily, and they're just, they don't really have a purpose anymore either. They're just, trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. So Racing for Heroes, Mike Devok, the founder, he was racing, and he was a big dirt car guy, and he finally was in a race car one day, and he was like, man, this gets me like the same adrenaline rush as back when I was in the teams and stuff. And he was like, I got a good idea. So he finally started this program with a few of his buddies from 7th Group, and they started this organization where now guys can come in and work on the cars and be back part of that family-oriented environment, and just get to hang out. Like tonight, we all had dinner over there at the shop, and we were just hanging out with a bunch of guys, and it's cool and a bunch of fun. So to see these guys, who have had maybe TBIs or just other big issues from their time in the service, it's really cool to see them back, back part of everyone and smiling. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's fantastic. And as for you, you have a very deep connection to the military because you're two brothers, right?
Yeah. So one of my brothers is actually deployed in Kuwait right now. I know everyone talks about Kuwait. It's not a deployment, but he's there, and he works up in DC doing some stuff when he's not deployed. And then my other brother, he is in Fort Hood right now, and he is an Apache Echo pilot, so he's kind of cool, I guess. But
I guess it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. But then I've had a family member in, I think it's every American conflict in history, so that's kind of a neat fact. My uncles, on my dad's side, my grandfather on both sides, so it's been a big family thing. And then my brothers are actually my half brothers, and their dad, he was 10th Mountain, and he went through Ranger School and stuff. So I grew up around him, and it was really cool to be a part of that. So it's been a big part of my life from since I was a kid.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And that's the big part of what drew me to you. If you remember our first conversation, again, for those that have joined, me and Colin are doing stuff together, but we've still only known each other for 3 weeks. We met a few weeks ago at dinner when his dad placed us next to each other. And one of the first things I said to him was like, all right, I got to step to you, man. If I'm going to partner with you and I'm representing all veterans, like, hey, why do they matter to you? And what I gained is what Colin just shared, and just that's what attracted me to what the project you're doing, 1111 Veteran Project, and I know how much it means to you. It's not just a stunt for, it's not just a celebrity stunt. Like, oh, I'm a driver, I'm going to support this charity. I know it really does mean a lot to you, and that's why I came on board. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm super excited to have you on board, and I'm super looking forward to see what we can create here in the near future, and even what we're doing right now. So it's I think it's going to be a pretty cool road.
Yeah. So let's talk about 1111 Veteran Project. How did that start? How did that start?
That started here in the last 2 years. It's kind of become it was an idea, and it's starting to become more of a thing here, obviously in the last year, and we're working with a bunch of different organizations, veteran organizations like Racing for Heroes, the Rosie Network, which helps veteran entrepreneurs and their spouses, try to get businesses running and different sorts of things like that. And they have like the little veteran-owned business badge and stuff that they can put up on their website. And but like I said, they help veterans and their spouses get their businesses running.
Yeah.
So we started working with them, and they kind of incorporated with the Racing for Heroes thing because it's basically the same thing, veteran-owned company. And we're like, this would make sense to bring this all into like one thing, so we don't have just like Racing for Heroes and Rosie Network and all that, whatever, all across the car. So it's like, all right, well, why don't we bring this into one organization? We put it all together, and we make kind of a big program of it. And whoever wants to come on board, is going to join our 1111 Foundation and be a part of the group in its entirety, instead of all right, well, you can be over here and we'll do stuff here, but then we're going to do some other stuff over here and stuff. So now we're bringing it all together and try to work together as one, and we're all going for the same goal here in the end. So yeah.
That's fantastic, and it's really, I like the idea where everyone's doing everything different and just kind of bringing everything together, because there are, and that really speaks to what you guys are trying to build, is there are thousands of resources out there, and as a Marine, I don't even know what all exists, and I haven't always known where to go for help or where I could go for this, or like the Rosie Network. I just learned they existed when I met you, and that's a massive network of venture-owned businesses to tap into. And so that's what attracted myself and my wife, Lindy, who's being camera shy tonight. I called her out, but she has given us comments, so that's good. That's what attracted us to what you guys are doing, is not just trying to create something, again, doing the same thing that everyone's kind of doing, which is good. There's a lot of good out there, but the concept of kind of being that connector of like, let's take all the good things that are out there and help just share the message and get those. And you guys say access saves lives, and it's get that access to the people, to the resources that already exist.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you have obviously, we've partnered up with Hobie Butler. He is a born blind guy, and he's hasn't let that stop him at all. I mean, he has a PhD and is out and living his life and everything. So it's really cool to see, and that runs right along with the access saves lives. I mean, having access to these resources helps everyone tremendously. We partnered up with Accessibility, which is a company that will go through and make websites and whatnot accessible for people with disabilities. So, if people didn't have access to those things, they wouldn't be able to live, really. I mean, so it's really cool to see these companies work together and to bring that all, together. And then, like you said, I mean, it brings it all into this one thing worth the veterans. And the same thing, access saves lives, having access to Racing for Heroes, having access to the Rosie Network. I mean, that's all just been kind of piled into one thing. So it's really cool to, see it all come together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and we're excited that you wanted to branch out even more, because that's where we came in. And for anyone that doesn't know the story, Lindy and I have kind of been throwing out, our lives changed a little bit this year. So we've been throwing around the idea of, hey, what if we just find remote jobs and live in an RV and like travel the country? And then Colin's team reached out and said, hey, we're looking for a military couple to live in an RV and travel the country and work with vets and work with veteran-owned businesses and help be that physical connector and that resource, connecting all the resources. So, like, not only are you guys are doing two things. 1111 Vets and Colin's team, they are doing what they say they do and helping veterans, veteran-owned business by helping my wife and I and creating our dreams and creating things we want to build, but also creating this new campaign, this crowdfunder that we've launched, that which if you haven't seen, which is why this beautiful, gorgeous face is on the side of a race car of Colin's car this last weekend, is to kick off that campaign and this crowdfunder we're doing to raise money for the bus, for this RV vehicle thing that we're going to be driving around the country, connecting vets to things, going to races, different stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a wild few weeks, and seeing it all come together. Just meeting you at Michigan, and then I show up to Darlington, and your face is on my car. So that was a shock. So when I got that render for the car that week, I was like, oh God. So it was funny though. It obviously got a bunch of people talking about it, and I walk in the garage there, and you're talking to producers and commentators and stuff. So that was really cool to see. But yeah, I mean, it obviously got people's attention, so it's working.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, it all for at least for our story and our message, it all started with this little stamp that Lindy got me for our 10th anniversary last year. And
Mine washed off. I was kind of
well,
sad
came
about
out.
that.
Oh, we got to get you a tattoo or something then.
Exactly.
Well, it was on the car, so it's kind of tattooed in your brain for a while.
Yeah. Oh, don't think I won't get the tattoo. I'll get it like on my butt cheek or something.
On your butt cheek? Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great for
Yeah.
media campaigns.
Yeah. Just like be awesome. I'll just lean over it and like pull it down and just like be awesome.
Fantastic. Great campaign right there. I don't think we need to attract that kind of attention to the campaign, but hey.
It brings some fun.
It does. It makes it fun. So and your little stamp there that I gave you at Darlington, it probably sweated off during that intense race you had this last weekend.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I don't even remember seeing it when I got out of the car. Oh, my headphones died. See if I can get my other one. I can tell the story. So I was looking at pictures and stuff, and I saw it on my hand. And I was like, oh yeah, there it is. But after getting out of the car, I was like, I have no recollection of seeing that ever again. So I'm sure it came straight off right then. So
yeah, I'll give you a sec. Do you put your other headphone in?
Yeah, you're back to doing that weird thing. So I don't know.
Yeah. Throw your headphone in, and we'll see if it gets better. For anyone that doesn't know, let's see if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
It might work. We shall see.
Check 1 2.
Stand by. It's
connected. All right. Technical difficulties. That's just the way of life.
I always use my right headphone because, like, I don't know, I'm always right dominant, and so this one dies a lot quicker. So let me see. Nice. I can get it connected here. Sorry for the issues.
Well, you're good. So while he fixes that, it's been a wild ride for Lindy and I being a part of this project with Colin, this 1111 veteran project. We're really excited. It's interesting, and a lot of people are saying, like, what's going on? What are you guys doing? How'd you end up on a car? Why'd you end up on a car? And we're going to be talking more about it. Lindy and I go live sharing our experience about it. But really, I want to introduce you guys first to Colin. I'm glad kind of being able to tell his story because if you don't know, I could barely spell NASCAR 3-4 weeks ago. And now I've been to 2 races in the pits. My face was on a car. We're partnered with Colin and his team. So I know what a lucky dog is, which if Colin comes back on screen, I can have him laugh at that, see if I get the lucky dog right or not. Oh.
Hold on, still working on stuff.
Okay. He's still working on it, but I'll see if he comes back on camera in a second. Yeah, so if you guys have questions out there, I see people popping in and out. Throw us a question. Tell me where you are, who you are, where you're watching from, because I can't see because I can only see comments right now. We might have Colin back. Let's see.
Roll with this.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, audio is working without my headphones. I don't know why we had those issues earlier. So
okay, but you can hear me.
Give this a whirl. Oh yeah, I can hear you fine right now.
Perfect. So I'm not sure if you heard me explain that I did learn what the lucky dog was because of you last weekend.
Yeah, that's why I came back and made that face. I was like, because I got a few of those.
Yeah. So Can you are you willing to talk about what happened at Darlington?
Yeah, yeah, I've told this story like 58 times this week, so I've got it pretty well
Mhm.
down. So there at the beginning of the race, we were horrible, and I don't know what the reasoning was, but we got going there, and on like lap, I don't know what lap it was. It was pretty early there in the race. I wrecked on, or I didn't wreck. I had brakes go out lap 13 last year, so I think it happened around the same time. I hate Darlington; it hates me, so we're gonna say it happened on lap 13 this year. My right front blew, and I hit the fence. And I was going through 3 and 4, so I had to make a left and try to get down into the pits. Well, then I missed the commitment cone, which obviously I had a flat right and was trying to get in. Come down pit road, caution didn't come out, so I lose 2 laps under green while we're changing tires. Come back out, then I had a pit road penalty because I missed the commitment cone the last time, so then I had to come back through and make a pass-through penalty. So by the end of it, we were 3 laps down, all under green, so that kind of sucked. But then I just pretty much had to go 100% in the entire race and get in a position where I could get the lucky dog, which is the first car a lap down, or X amount of laps down, but you're the first car that's a X amount of laps down in front of it. It's dumb. It's painfully hard to explain, but whatever. So I got there. I was there. I had to race my ass off. It was hands down the hardest I've ever just sheerly driven like an entire race. Like I've ran hard, but it's never like you normally get into like a little groove for a little bit, and that was just like 100% go 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 the entire time. So that was pretty draining. But we finally got back on the lead lap, and we were in contention there for a top 15, and we just made the wrong call on the last restart there, and we ended up 17th. But it definitely had we definitely came back, and it was a great race from what it could have been. We could have sat back and just rode around a few laps down and called it a day. But me and all the Sam Hunt Racing guys, and we just we did our best to get us back on the lead lap. And Chris Lambert up on top of the tower, he helped me out tremendously on working the traffic and trying to get up the speed on what everyone was doing, so I could be in position there at the end. So it was a good night, or a good day.
It was pretty awesome to watch. I was in the pits. I was like, oh, my face is bad luck. Come on. But then to watch you grind back, and for anyone that doesn't know, it's not easy to gain that many cars and that in so few laps. You only had like what? I think it was like 30, 35 laps by the time you got back into the main race. And so you really grinded to get back into 17th place.
Yeah, well, that was the problem. Is I passed the same cars like 90 times, because every time I would get a lap back, I'd have to start at the back and pass all of them again. So like by the time I got to him while I was on the lead lap, I was like, all right, well, I already know how this dude is. So I just passed him right when I could, when I'd already passed him 4 times earlier. So it was such a long day. And then also on top of that, from when I hit the fence, all the crush panels and stuff got knocked up. So I had an exhaust leak. All the exhaust was coming in the car, and thankfully I had forced air, so it was bringing some fresh air into it, but it was still like we were on those mile over mile tracks. We were on the side window, so just no air was escaping, and it was brutal. I felt like I was gonna die the entire race, but I made it, as you can see. So that was kind of neat.
Yeah. What is it like? It gets pretty warm in there, as people can imagine. I think you told me before you burn like 4,000 calories per race, right?
Yeah, so it depends on the race. Like last week at Daytona, I ran like 2,200 or something like that. And Michigan the week before, I barely hit 3,000, something like that. Darlington, I hit almost 4,000, which is like an all-time record for me, because like I said, I have never raced that hard in my life. That was just sheer, just going, and it was a long day. So yeah, it gets stupid hot. It depends where you're at. Obviously, some places it could be cool, little 90, 100 degrees in the car. Other places you can get up to like 150. So those races suck. So
And so, what do they do in the car to keep you cool? For those that don't know.
yeah, so I have like a little. It's called a cool box. K yeah, KOOL, just box. Yeah, whatever. They have a bunch of them. They had to spell it all cool and stuff. They had to branch out. Like my pants I'm wearing right now are cool. They're KUHO. Anyway, so yeah, so I have the cool box. It was originally designed for NASA, or the design. I don't know if the company, they're called Computech out of Missouri, but they built them, and they're pretty cool machines. They're probably about yay big. They're not very big. They weigh like 5 pounds, and you bolt them in the car, and they run some cooled air to you. Halfway through the race, you don't think it's working, and you're like, this piece of shit. And so you flip open your visor, and it is like a 50-degree difference. Like, oh God, you know, like get your visor back down. But some guys, they run a shirt that runs water through their shirt, and it's cooled water. Basically, it's called a Rini. They make a few different. There's the Rini, there's the cool shirt, which is like the OG one, and there's a few others. But they're both dumb expensive, so I don't have both. But they're cool, and I think it's a little more of an ego thing that I don't want the shirt, because I can be like, oh, you know, that dude's got the shirt, you know, whatever. So me, like, I don't need the shirt. I'm better than him. But I have the helmet thing though too, so I thought that thing didn't work this past week when all the fumes and stuff were coming in. But if that thing hadn't been running, it would have been much worse.
Yeah, I do remember you asked for ice at one of the pit stops.
Yeah, so you're talking about like, oh yeah, you're not texting or whatever. Had my fire suit zipped down, and I was trying to undo my buckles, and I was driving with my knee and trying to get the ice under caution in my fire suit. And then I couldn't get it, so I was just like dumping it all over myself and like throwing spare ones like on all my pulse points, and it was bad. So I was just trying to stay cool, because when those fumes started getting to me, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna be sick. I just need to, you know, get my body temperature down. So I did that, and then I was, like I said, I was driving with my knee, but the cars were like made to go left. Like if you don't hold the wheel, like it'll just immediately turn left. So we're sitting there just cruising under caution. And like I said, I was driving my knee, so then my knee would slip and the car would just shoot to the left. So I know whoever was behind me, I was like, what is this guy doing? But I was trying to get ice in my fire suit and driving my knee, and probably destroyed my white suit in the process. But I was desperate at that point. So
hey, you got to adapt and overcome. We in the military are very used to that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that. It's incredible to watch, to be in the pits and on the radio, to watch you go from the things that occurred in the race, the tire blowing, to go 3 laps down, to then you getting the lucky dog, and to watch your team just come together, the brotherhood and the bond. It was very militaristic. I think I just made that word up. It's very military-like in the sense that everyone,
Or all of it.
Yeah, everyone just came together and did their job, got their part, and you guys had an incredible race later.
Yeah, those guys, I mean, back to the Racing for Heroes thing, where Mike Evok, you know, he was racing, he was like, man, this is like just like being back in the teams. It's the same environment basically. And you've mentioned it, I've had a few other people that are in the military mention. I mean, we bust each other's balls all day long when we're at the shop. I mean, we just go hard on each other. We hang out basically. I live with 2 of the guys from the shop down in Charlotte, so I mean, we're with each other all the time, and we go out together, we go get dinner together. I mean, we hang out with each other on the weekends. It's a 6 or 7 day a week thing, 24/7. So it's definitely that family oriented environment, and we all hate each other most of the time, or we say we do, but you know, at the end of it, we're gonna do anything for each other at the same time. So you know, when we do go to the racetrack, me having worked, I worked at Sam's there for the first 6 months of the year, doing all the interior stuff on the race cars. And so I had that working relationship with them. But then when I come back and race, you know, I still have that relationship with them. So it's really cool to have that, you know, driver team relationship where, you know, other people, other drivers, they just show up and, you know, kind of race. They don't really know the guys. So, yeah.
That's cool. Well, and I can tell as a team, you can see different teams as, and anyone that still doesn't know, I talk like I know what's going on in NASCAR. I could barely spell it 3 months ago or 3 weeks ago. So like I may use fancy words. It's all stuff that Colin gave me, or this guy little Mike gave me. And just recently, like whole team, they've been super awesome, helping me understand it all. They probably think I'm some crazy idiot. I wish I could have seen their faces when they saw my face on the hood. Like, wait a minute, this guy?
Oh, I was getting Snapchat. It was amazing. They're like, Colin, what the hell is this? I was like, bro, I don't know. Just roll with it. They said the decal guys got there because the installers, they never see it before. So they get there and they're looking at like the paperwork and they're like, man, what is this? So,
well, that made it really fun when we got to the pits on Saturday at Darlington. For those who don't know, Darlington, South Carolina, one of the tracks down there. And when we got in there, it was a constant like, wait a minute, you're that guy in the car. I thought it was Mr. T. Wait a minute, what's happening? And then my favorite though was some guy came up to me. He was talking. He's like, "Wait a minute. So what's this? What's going on? Why is your face on the car?" Because I guess that doesn't happen often. You have a lot of sponsors, but you don't.
No, believe it or not, I don't know, I'm not the only person, but I seem to have a lot of trends where I have people's faces on my car. I've had yours. Steve Sims' beautiful face was on the hood of one of my trucks out in Vegas one year. So that's kind of been my thing, evidently. But Corey LaJoy, one of my buddies, races Cup. He had his entire face was the front of the car. So like all the hood and the bumper and like the fenders was his face. Like his eyes were like the size of the hood. It was very creepy. But it got people excited about it. So
Yeah,
it gets people talking. It's all about the story.
it does. Well, and that's how that guy came up to me and started talking to me, and I was talking to him for like 20 minutes. It was when you walked up, and we left, and you and the other mechanics and team were like, "Dude, how the heck are you talking to that guy for so long?" I was like, "I don't know. Like, how'd you end up talking to Dave Burns?" I was like, "Who's Dave Burns?" Like, he's the voice of NASCAR.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. I just thought it was a cool guy.
Yeah. He's one of the main commentators for NBC, I believe. So, yeah, he and I, I wouldn't say he and I go way back, but he, back when I ran K&N, which is the regional series, which I started racing in 18, which again is only 3 years ago, but it feels like an eternity. I feel like I was about 12 years old when I ran that series. It is crazy. And that is like such a long time ago. When I think about that, I'm like, yeah, back when I ran K&N like 3 years ago. But anyway, he did all the commentating for those races, so he's been aware of our deal here for a while. So it's been it was cool to see him, finally getting to talk to you and see what all we're doing to the extent that you guys were able to talk about.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun for those that are still learning about what we're up to. Stay tuned. We got more things coming out about it on my channels, on Colin's channels. Some new stuff that we're creating that we'll be announcing soon. And it's just a way. It all comes back to it. You may see my face, you may see Colin's face, but it all comes back to helping veterans, helping military spouses, working with their families, giving people a chance who have sacrificed everything and sacrificed a lot to build the lives, to build the happiness that they deserve to, and to connect them to the resources, to what's going on, which I'll say again is part of this initial, I guess it's now kind of become the Be Awesome campaign because of this stinking thing. This whole Be Awesome campaign is about raising funds for this bus so we can get my wife and I, and maybe other people later, just on the road, working with vets, working with families, going to races next season, that kind of stuff. So if you can contribute, great. If you can't, tell someone about it. If you can't contribute monetarily but want to help out, let us know. We got lots of ways. We're all doing this like this right now. So we'll take the help.
A lot has happened in 3 weeks, so something completely different can happen in the next 3 weeks.
Exactly. We got one comment here. Let's see. A janitor gets accepted into NASCAR. The car goes broom, broom.
So stupid.
Colin's speaking. He can't even say anything. Oh, that's fantastic.
That's funny.
And I appreciate that lame joke from that guy. So in the military world, in the Marine Corps, we all go through a basic training of sorts.
I've heard so many dad jokes today with Ricky Henson over at RFH. He's one of the main instructors there. He's former 7th Group SF, and all day we were talking about stuff, and like he would go off on the story, and you're like, oh wow, damn, that's crazy. And then it would be some dad joke at the end of it, like the whole story is made up just to set it up for this dad joke. And you're like, damn it, Ricky, like you're thinking the story like this is horrible and all that, and then just ends up with a dad joke. I'm like, man. So I'm gonna start telling people stories that I think are real, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, that didn't actually happen. It was a setup for a joke. But
hey,
he told some horrible stuff.
That's how all good stories are told.
Yeah, it was. And we had a bunch of guys that are taking class this week, and like, I mean, we're all in the classroom. We're just like, oh man, that's insane. And then he's like, at the end, he's like, punchline. You're like, damn it. So
Well, I have my own of that. When I was about 11, 12 years old, I was sitting on the stairs at my uncle's house in Vegas. And my other uncle walks up and he's telling me, we're having this deep conversation about life. I mean, I'm 11, so it's that deep. And he's like, plan
Yeah.
for life, these kinds of things. And he's like, so there's only one thing you really got to know, Matt. Like, whatever's going on, however sad you are, mad you are, whatever's happening. And I'm on the edge of my stair, like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Tell me this. And he's like, so whatever's going on, all you got to do is just quack like a duck. And he started quacking. And it just, I was like, it sounded crazy at the time, but I've actually used it. I have videos about that. I've used that phrase because even in the stressful situations I've been in, that you've been in, sometimes you just got to be like, oh, whatever. Just be crazy and go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's there's a lot of stuff like that I don't want to say the old timers, but the older generation than maybe you or I, or it's generational, so they can pass down, and you end up passing it on along the way. So
Exactly, definitely. So, do you know when the next time you're racing in any series is going to be? Yeah.
yeah, so I'm racing a late model stock here soon. So that's after I got that pure stock car back when I was a kid. I moved up at South Boston Speedway. I moved up into limited late models and late model stocks, and that's all kind of the same thing. So it's what I grew up watching coming up as a kid, and I still go and race late model stocks. It's probably the purest form of racing at a local level. I mean, it's just like I roll up in a 40-foot gooseneck and dually, and we have our equipment and stuff. We roll out, and you have your 2-3 guys, and you go to work, and it's pretty cool. You're working right there on pit road, and you go out, and it's a little short track. It's like 0.4 of a mile of track, and it's just local short track Saturday night racing. People come up, tailgate, and just drink beer, and I mean, it's really cool. It's what like I said, it's what I grew up going to watch, and my hero back then was actually Peyton Sellers, and now I race for him these days, so it's been really cool. I was just mountain biking with him actually a day or two ago. So anyway, the moral of that story is I come back and race late model stocks and stuff. I realized I didn't preface that at all earlier, so I didn't want to go, yeah, I'm racing late model stocks. I had to explain what it was. So I'm coming back to my roots as I do a few times throughout the year. I'm going to race the big late model stock race at Martinsville in 2 weeks, something like that. My last 2 months have been just... So I'm racing that, I guess, in a couple something weeks. And so that'll be cool. That'll be at Martinsville. It's kind of like our Daytona 500 for that series. It's obviously the biggest track that we're going to go to with those cars. And, it's a big-time cup track. And normally we get a ton of cars. I mean, there's been times where 100 cars show up and only 40 get to race.
Wow.
So I don't know what kind of car count we're going to have with COVID and all that. But it's always really cool race, really cool atmosphere, and they just installed lights at the racetrack a few years ago. So it's been a night race for the last few years, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's always a really cool environment, and a lot of guys who run the National Series stuff do come back down to run it if they do have that spare time. So it's just a really cool race. Yeah, it's pretty much it. There's 3 versions of this race. It's called the Triple Crown, and the first one is actually at my hometown track, South Boston Speedway, and so that's where you kick it off. It's always the 4th of July race is the first leg of the Triple Crown. 2 weeks later, you go out to Langley Speedway out in Hampton Roads, and that's for the second leg of the Triple Crown for the Hampton Heat. It's called Hampton Heat because it's the world's hottest race ever. And then you finish it off over here at Martinsville for the Triple Crown. So I am in no contention for the Triple Crown because I wrecked out twice for the first 2 races. So I will be going to have fun, I guess, and not go for any championship. I will be going for the win and screw the people running for the Triple Crown. So, except for my teammate Peyton. Peyton, I'm not going to wreck you. So.
Well, and I like that no matter where you are in the sport, you're racing at a national level, but you go back and just have fun. You just go back to where you were when you were growing up and just have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most, like I said, it's the most fun part of it. I mean, I'm sitting here at my parents' house and I can be at that shop in 15 minutes. It's right down the road. And it's who I grew up kind of idolizing. I have a hero card from actually he tried to get my dad into their company to sponsor him back when I was a kid. So dad told him no, and now we are racing for him. So he's probably like, man, what? So, but I have a little hero card actually from that day that my dad went to talk with him, and that's kind of, it was like the thing I treasured as a kid. It was like, man, Peyton Sellers, he's the man. I'd go up and I'd meet him after the races at South Boston, and now we send each other memes. So that's kind of our thing now. So it's funny to see, you know, it come full circle. And, you know, like I said, he raced Top Series stuff, and he raced Xfinity, or I guess it was Nationwide back then, and now he's back running this stuff. So it definitely, I was always like, man, how can you do that? But being into Xfinity stuff here for a while, I've realized, you know, like, it's not that bad to go back and race the late model stuff, because it's like, it's the purest form. Like I said, it's just the lowest stress, you could say, part of it. I mean, it doesn't cost $100K a race on the low end. I mean, it's like, you know, most, I'm not going to say most, half of your average population could probably go run, you know, week to week, and, you know, just go have fun at their local track. And that's what it's made for. I mean, it's just made to go have fun and go beat around with your friends. It obviously, sadly, gets to the point, as everything does, to where things, they try to be cost effective and they don't end up being. But, you know, it's still fun to go out there. They have different classes. They have, you know, the limited late models, which is a lower version of it. It's the exact same car, but it's the same thing, just lower cost. And then they have what I started off in the Pure Stock cars, which is just a generic car. It's literally a Nissan 240 SX that's been just modified so we can go race. And then they have an even lower one of that, which is like a Chevy Cavalier with like the back window taken out of it, and you can go race that. So there's so many different levels, and you go back to that, and it's just kind of like, it makes you appreciate everything that I've been able to do. And it makes me realize that, you know, it's not bad to, you know, just kind of settle in here and just have fun. It's what it's all about. And when you get up to the big stuff, you know, you don't really, you lose that kind of mentality. You're like, all right, I'm going for this. I'm trying to race for my career. I got to make it to the top, blah, blah, blah. And then you come back here, it's like, oh shit, you know, like, this guy can't get to the top. You know, you realize, you know, other people aren't as fortunate. And you're like, this isn't that bad. This is actually like, this is more fun. So I always enjoy going back and seeing all the faces that helped me in my career. And it's always a good time.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Well, Colin, anything else you want to share about being a driver of the project? We talked for a while. You're good?
I'm good. I got a new knife. That's kind of cool. So I've been playing with that this whole time.
Important things in life. Hey,
I've had one for like a decade, and I can't lose it to save my life. So I finally just ended up getting one. But
is it?
Yeah,
Is
anyway,
that
that's what I've been playing with. That's the new thing in my life.
is that the dull one from the track the other day? It doesn't cut anything?
No. This one's, yeah, no, I don't want to see that one. This one's Emerson. I just got this one. It's kind of cool. So my brother in Kuwait was like, hey, you should get that. So I got it. But yeah, it's really cool. That's kind of the new thing in my life. That's why I wanted to share with the public. So don't steal it from me if you see it. But yeah, I mean, just go check out Racing for Heroes. Go check out the Rosie Network. Speared, I don't know if you can see it here. This is where my camera is. Yeah, Speared. It's owned by SF Dude and his wife. They run it. They've been really cool to me, sending me some stuff. They make super cool designs. I wear this hat ever. Actually, I wore it this past weekend at the racetrack, mostly because I haven't had a haircut in a while, so I need one. But it's covering that up right now, and it looks really cool. So go check them out and see what you want from there, and get it. Support them. Like I said, it's all about supporting these guys, supporting the veterans. So go check us out and do that.
For sure. And since he didn't say it, I'll say it. Make sure you check out 1111vets.com.
Yes, that.
So,
that too. That's what we have you here for. That's your job now.
I know. That literally is my job. You drive the car. I bring the people into the boat.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And for those online, my wife will put it in the chat there. You can get to the link. Support us. Any money that's raised past what we're doing for this crowdfunder is going to still go to veterans. We're not keeping it. Colin's not going to use it to buy new knives. He's got his own money for that. And so anything you guys can do to help, super appreciative. You know, again, if you can't help monetarily, share the message out. We're trying to help. If you want to volunteer your time, let us know as well, whether it's to Racing for Heroes, to 1111 Vets, to Rosie Network. If you want to volunteer, we can find someone that can use your help. So, Colin, thanks for joining us tonight. Stay tuned, folks. You'll see more. Colin, you're fantastic.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm happy to do it anytime. This is probably one of the more fun podcasts I've been on. So this is it's pretty cool. So thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Stress free. We just talk about knives and driving fast and sweating.
Exactly.
That's all you need. So, Colin, don't hang up, and everyone else, have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
You guys.